two angles are complementary, 3 times the measure of the larger angle is 10 degrees less than 4 times the measure of the smaller angle. Write a system of linear equations and its corresponding matrix equation to represent the system. Solve the system using matrices. Okay, so our first clue here is two angles are complementary. Let's just call those angles x and y. And so if they're complementary, we know that they add to 90. We also have another relationship here. It tells us 3 times the measure of the larger angle. Let's just call that x. So 3 times that would be 3x. And then it says is, that's often the word there for equals. And then 10 degrees less than, that's a key for that 10 will be subtracted. 4 times the measure of the smaller angle, so 4y. So there's our two equations. Let's go ahead and put those in standard form. The first one already is, since we have the x term, y term, and a number. Second equation, we need 3x, and then we can move over the 4y by subtracting 4y on each side. So we get minus 4y, and then the 4y's add to 0 on the other side equals negative 10. So there's our two equations, and now we can turn that into a matrix. So our matrix then would be using the coefficients of the first equation, which would be 1 for x and 1 for y, and then the second equation, 3 and negative 4, and then times xy, and then equals 90, negative 10. So now to solve this, then we need to multiply each side by the inverse of the matrix by xy. And so to find that, then let's remember what our matrix inverse formula is. So remember that these numbers are a, b, c, and d. So using those, let's go ahead and fill this in. So 1 divided by 1 times negative 4 minus 1 times 3, and then times our matrix with d and a switch. So negative 4 and 1, and then b and c with the sign change. So negative 1 and negative 3. So then 1 over, well, 1 times negative 4 is negative 4, minus 1 times 3 is minus 3. So we get 1 divided by negative 4 minus 3 is negative 7, and then times our matrix. So multiplying negative 1/7 by each term, then we get positive 4/7, positive 3/7, positive 1/7, and negative 1/7. So we can now put this inverse on the left of each matrix, so I'll go ahead and do that. So now that I've written this, remember we're multiplying on the left of each matrix, then we just need to perform now matrix multiplication. So with the left side here, then it would be 4/7 times first column, first entry 1, and then plus 1/7, the second in the first row, times 3, the second in the column. And then the same row, 4/7, but this time times the second column, so times 1, and then plus 1/7 times negative 4. And so on with the second row, same thing, so except using 3/7, and then times 1 plus negative 1/7 times 3, and so on. So now that we have that, then we'll simplify that in just a minute. And let's go ahead and do the other side as well. So same deal, so first row, we have 4/7 first times the first in the column, 90, and then plus the second entry in the first row, 1/7 times negative 10 in the column. And then same thing, but now with the second row. So 3/7 times 90 plus negative 1/7 times negative 10. So now we can just plug in each of these terms into a calculator and simplify our answers. So once we do that, then the first term ends up being 1, and then we get 0 for our second term here, and then this 1 down here, we get 0 again, and then 1. And so we do get what we expect. If you don't get that, then you know you made a mistake somewhere. And so then on this side, then we get, on the top, we get 50, and on the bottom, we get 40. So then our final answer, since an identity times xy is just xy, then our final answer is xy equals 50, 40. And that just means that x will be 50 degrees, which is the larger angle, and y will be 40 degrees, the smaller angle. So let's go ahead and summarize our answer. Let x represent the measure of the larger angle and y represent the measure of the smaller angle. X plus y equals 90, 3x equals 4y minus 10 becomes x plus y equals 90, 3x minus 4y equals negative 10. 1, 3, 1, negative 4 times xy equals 90, negative 10. xy equals 50, 40. The measure of the larger angle is 50 degrees, and the measure of the smaller angle is 40 degrees.